So this session, I told Lou that I wanted to talk a bit about depression. And so we actually, between us, we started, but let's now we are a group. So let's start officially with our prayers.
Okay.
So Lou, would you mind screen sharing the opening prayers? So maybe we start with just a moment of silence, just a moment to bring ourselves present. Notice how you sit here. Your sit bones. Oops, there is a bit of echo. Maybe it's good for a moment just to mute yourselves. Otherwise there's an echo. Feel your sit bones on the seat, your feet probably on the floor. Notice your breathing. Let's give ourselves permission to arrive in the here and now. Letting go of previous activities. Let's also check our motivation for being here. Doing the session, be your own therapist. And let's include an altruistic motivation, that we do this session for our own peace of mind, our own sense of joy and happiness in life. And also through that to be able to benefit others, eventually benefiting all beings. With that, let's recite the refuge prayers twice in English and then once in Tibetan, keeping muted. You can do it out loud. It's actually very beneficial and fun to do. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye chedang chakni chaknam la jang yuk badu dakni kyap suchi dagi chenyang ye pe sonam gi drola penchir sangye drubasho. I think we have the mandala offering. This is an opportunity to generate positive energy. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. Tibetan. Sajipyogi chukshin metok tramri rablinchi nidegen pari sangye jingdu mekte ulmai Drokunam Dakshin La Chepashak. Is there a second verse? Okay, request. Okay. O holy and perfect pure Lama, from the clouds of compassion that form in the skies of your Dharmakaya wisdom, please release a rain of vast and profound Dharma, precisely in accordance with the need of those to be trained. And that's a request to turn the wheel of Dharma. We can imagine we do that to all our teachers, all our Buddhas, all of those who inspire us. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niyatayami. Okay, thank you. That's and welcome to Mariana. I hope you can hear us, Mariana. I'm glad.
Hi. Yes,
Hi.
you. Sorry for just hopping on. I was driving and I had low tire pressure alert, so I had to take care of that.
Great, welcome. Let's just do a quick round of names. I'm not sure if we all know each other. So my name is Margo van Greta. I'm here in Scotland. Let's just go around. Lou, you want to introduce you?
My name is Lou DeSantis, here in Southeast Florida.
Great. Erica?
Hi, I'm Erica. I'm from Brazil, but I'm living in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
And Mariana?
Hi. Oh, it's Marianne. But
Marianne, okay.
A lot of people mix that up, thinking it's an A at the end. I live in central New Jersey. I invited a friend to join. She sounded interested in coming, but I guess she couldn't make it. She is in Germany, but I guess the time difference, maybe she couldn't do it. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's possible. Thank you. Who knows, she might still show up later. Okay, so today we're going to look at, so the theme is just be your own therapist. So using like some Buddhist methods and techniques to deal with our stuff, to deal with the challenges of life, and especially to deal with our mind, very much looking at an inner practices to deal with life, very much the inner work rather than the outer mechanics. And until now, I just discovered that most of the time we've been looking at anger, and I think because anger is a very strong quality that actually reduces our positive energy. However, today I wanted to focus on the topic of depression. And I'm using some inspiration from How to Meditate from Venerable Sankhya Kadra or Kathleen MacDonald. So let's look a little bit about depression. So we're going to look at like what is it, how we can deal with depression using some Buddhist methods. And I also very much would like to do a meditation, a reflection to look at our own times of depression and use some of these methods in relation to our own times or situations of depression, maybe current ones or past ones. So that when we get access to these tools and techniques, these methods, the idea is that, when there are times of depression, we know what to do with them. And we know more quickly how to deal with them. So what is depression? So depression is like a dark and negative time, a time when, everything seems to be down. It may be triggered by events in our lives. Maybe, there is a change in our life or a sense of loss or, sometimes the death of a partner or a loved one, or we have, life circumstances change. There may be a change of job, or you lose your job or your home, or health issues when suddenly you hear about health issues, or a whole range of other reasons that may trigger, our emotional response, and that may trigger a depression. So in a depression, we actually don't have access to our normal awareness, our normal common sense, or our normal sense of resilience that normally helps us to deal with these challenging situations. Depression is more like a blanket of like hopelessness, and oops, there goes Erica. So depression actually, in Buddhism, they say a depression is actually a time when we may exaggerate our own difficulties. Because in life, there are an endless amount of ups and downs. There are an endless amount of things that happen in life that we need to deal with. And in a depression, there tends to be a situation where our problems seem to be made worse. So instead of thinking, well, we all have the ups and downs of life and accepting them as they are there, ups and downs of life, we seem to have a tendency to make them worse and to focus mainly on the negative. And another, it creates this like downward spiral when we go into these depressed moods, we go down, and we talk to ourselves so we have a difficult situation. Then we talk to ourselves in a certain way that it makes it worse instead of making it better. And that is in a way the problem, that we are in that downward spiral, making things worse. Also, depression concentrates very much on this is my problem. So we tend to not be depressed. Some of us do. Some of us do get depressed about other people's problems. That helps too. That's possible too. But often in a depression, we blow things out of proportion, and we in a way focus to a large extent on this negative situation and the sense of hopelessness without any possibility of improving. So we all have a tendency to be depressed at times. I also want to make a difference between depression and, in a way, a healthy sense of grieving. Because when difficulties happen in life, there is like a healthy sense of like loss or mourning or grieving that we go through. So that in itself is part of life. That includes, different stages. But in depression, that is something else. Like it's like we have no control over the situation. And we are actually not able to accept the problem that there is. So, because when we have a difficult situation and can accept it, go like, oh, well, here's a difficult situation. Too bad. Let's make the best of it. It doesn't affect us. We still have the difficult situation. I remember, there's this Bob Marley song, like everything is going to be all right. And at some point I heard he wrote that after he was being diagnosed with cancer. So I go like, wow, that's, quite impressive that you have that state of mind. Like it's just part of life. Everything is fine while you have been diagnosed with a life-threatening illness. But like, so in a way with a depression, sinking in a depression is not very helpful. So what can we do about that? Because first of all, I think the first part is to actually notice it, to actually acknowledge, have a sense of mindfulness, a sense of presence, a state of mind that notices like, hey, I'm in a depression here. And to acknowledge that. So one of the ways to deal with a depression is to investigate the I. So that is like a Buddhist method. If you have had any Buddhist teachings, especially on emptiness, you can use that in here. So you're going to investigate, where is this I that is so depressed and feels so hopeless? Is it in my body? And then you check your body. Is it in my mind, my consciousness, my thoughts, my feeling? Where is this sense of I that is feeling so depressed? So is it in my body? Is it in my mind? Is it outside? Is it somewhere else? So that is an investigation we can do to actually check, where is that depression? Where is it located? Another technique is that we, and we'll do that later on in a more meditative way, is appreciating human life. So we are all born as a human, And instead of focusing on, something is wrong or something is not perfect or something is depressing, to actually focus on some good things that are part of our lives. Just checking our lives, our day. Do you have a place to live in? Do you have food on the table? Do you have, the ability to look outside and look at the sky or the tree or, a landscape? Do you have some people in your life that you can talk to who smile at you occasionally and like you or talk to you? So, do you looking at the things of life, like what is positive? What can you be grateful for? What do you appreciate? Here you have access to a Buddhist center and a Buddhist group on Zoom. So no matter wherever you are in the world, you can join in with as many. I think the Santa Fe group you can do as many Buddhist courses as you like or something like that, which seems amazing. So there are a lot of things to be grateful for. So, and that is an opportunity to actually look at them, to actually sit down. Some people do it like every day, to actually sit down or a few times a day and go like, what can I be grateful for? You can even do it every hour, like every hour, let a little alarm go off and go like, okay, stop for 1 minute. What can I be grateful for in my life? It's a very helpful, very powerful practice. Another one is a meditation on the clarity of your mind. So instead of, sometimes we have these meditations, we call them the mind like the sky. That is, when there is a depression, you tend to identify with that depressed feeling. But in Buddhism, there are these meditations where you actually identify your mind as clear, vast, and spacious. They say, we all have the same mind as a Buddha. We all have the same mind as a Dalai Lama, as a Venerable Robina, as whoever your favorite Buddhist teacher is. We all have that same mind. The difference is they have worked on it and developed it and cultivated it, and they are usually in a state of expansiveness and spaciousness and compassion and love and humor and wisdom. So that is what the mind is, the mind or the consciousness. That is what we all have. We all have that potential. So instead of focusing on the problem and the negativity and this isn't working and that is bad and that is nobody loves me and I'm not good enough and all these things that may bring us down, to actually identify with, I have that spacious, vast potential. That is actually who I am. So that's a different identification. So to identify with that and to think, that is really me. Other techniques are using meditations on love and compassion. So instead of, sometimes it helps when we think about a certain problem, like recently I had a problem, losing a job. That's a problem. So I was with losing a job. And then another opportunity is to think, is there anyone else losing their job? And then you read in the newspaper or hear from friends and colleagues, and a lot of people are in a similar position. So instead of then focusing on me and my problems, how does it work to actually do a meditation and have compassion with all these other people who are in a similar position, about losing a job or losing a relationship or having health issues or all these things that we deal with, to actually change that and have compassion. And another one, so I just mention a few of them. So in a way you can then choose ones that you resonate with. Another one, if you are involved longer in Buddhism, and you are familiar with practices like the Tara meditation. These are tantric practices. So if you are familiar with those, you can do those. Because these practices, they actually help us to, again, to identify, instead of like a depressed, miserable, poor me type of person. They help us to identify with, I'm similar to a Buddha. I'm a green Tara. I'm a loving, wise, compassionate being, full of love, full of beauty, full of wisdom, full of radiance. That's what I really am. So when you do that as a meditation practice, that can actually really help in our lives. So these are some suggestions. Any comments on those? Like I want to do a meditation, but maybe give you the space. Any comments or questions on those? Does that sound doable?
I was just curious about the Tara meditation. Is that like a meditation you visualize Tara, or is it a guided meditation?
Yes, there are simple ways of doing it. Tara is quite accessible. Then it's like where you visualize a green Tara first in front of you or above the crown of your head. And then you, in a way, visualize or imagine, and then you imagine you receive light rays, with compassionate light rays from her, and you fill yourself up with those qualities until you have that Tara energy in your heart, in your body, in your mind, in your whole being. So that's one, it's very beautiful. And usually it's combined with doing a mantra. So you chant a mantra, they keep you busy. These Tibetan Buddhists, they keep you busy. They always, so that's a method that is, includes visualization and mantra. So if you ever got an opportunity to do that, then you can check that out. It is a more elaborate practice. Sometimes it can be done in a simple way. It can also be done with, like, you get an initiation, and it's there's more of a commitment needed. But there are different ways to do it.
Oh, okay. Can it be like done for like 10 minutes, or is it like a lengthy 30 to an hour long? Or
It's all possible. You can do it in 10 minutes, and you can do the 3-year version of it. So
okay.
and anything in between. So yeah, no, it's all possible. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So
And excuse me. And
Yeah.
just to let you know, if you go to the Santa Fe website, they have a section where they have YouTube videos, and I'm sure they have guided Tara meditations there.
Yeah.
They're about a half hour long.
Right.
They'll be part of either the morning meditation express or the evening meditation express, but they archive them and they give a brief description, so you can find one that's doing a Tara meditation, and then you can just follow it on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. Thank you, Lou. Thank you. That's great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, great. Okay. Any other comments, questions? No. Otherwise, I would love to do a meditation with you, where you actually can apply some of these. I can't do all of them, but we'll use some of these techniques to your own situation. So if you have if there is a tendency of depression at the moment, you can use that, or otherwise you go back in your life to a time where you had a time of depression. So just take a moment to settle in your seat, feel your sit bones, notice your breathing. Now check your body. You can scan your body from the feet upward. To the crown of your head. And back down again to your feet. Notice your breathing. Just feel the rising and falling of the abdomen. And then bring to mind a time in your life when you were depressed, when you were in a time of downward spiral, being quite hopeless. Maybe that is currently the case. Or remember, ideally, a recent time when you were in a state of depression, feeling hopeless. You don't need to go into it, but remember it and observe it. The circumstances that brought it together. So even if your problems are very serious, it's important to remember that you also have a lot of positive energy and great potential. So take a moment to appreciate your human life. Appreciate different aspects of your life. If you are healthy, you can appreciate your health. If you have a home, a place to live, you can appreciate your home. If you are close to nature, maybe have a garden or a park or some natural space, can you appreciate the trees or the flowers? Appreciate nature. If you had breakfast this morning, or enough to eat yesterday, you can appreciate that you had enough to eat. And check what else in your life can you appreciate. One important part of precious human life is appreciating access to spiritual teachings. Buddhism, teachers, methods, meditations that bring hope and inspiration and upliftment. Access to books, YouTube videos, Zoom classes. So, and feel that sense of gratitude and appreciation. When you get a sense of that, just feel it in your heart. Allow it to deepen. Another method that can help us in time of depressions is to focus on the clarity of your mind. In times of depression, there are often feelings of hopelessness, negative conversations going on in our minds. I'll never get out of this. This is terrible. I'm hopeless. I'm not good enough. This always happens to me. Or check your own versions of that. You can imagine these negative thoughts and feelings as if they are clouds. Clouds in the sky. Yet we know that behind the clouds, the sky is clear, vast and spacious. We can imagine these negative thoughts and feelings that bring us down as clouds in the sky. Yet instead of identifying with these cloud-like negative feelings, how about we identify our mind, our consciousness is like the sky. It's clear, vast, and spacious. And every time there is a doubt, you think, yes, but my problem is so big. Yes, but it really feels terrible. Then even that thought can be seen as a cloud. And again, you shift your awareness to the sky-like nature of our mind, our consciousness. Clear, vast, and spacious. Oh, next, another method we can connect with is a meditation on love and compassion. We're in a time of depression. We can be very focused on me and my problem. I have this problem. It's a really big problem. So for a moment, when you look at your specific issue or depression or situation that you're exploring, just check, is there anyone else with a similar problem? Is there anyone else in this world with a relationship problem or a health problem? Problems at work, problems with finance, problems with depression. Maybe you even know some of these people with the similar problems. You imagine one of these people with a similar problem in the space in front of you. And allow from your heart a warm golden light of love and compassion to move to them. Imagine it brings a smile on their face. Imagine the worried look would disappear. Imagine their eyes and their face are softening. Feel how much you want them to be free from this problem, free from depression. You can expand that to others. Invite others in the space in front of you. Sending that sense of love and compassion towards them. May they all be free from suffering, free from problems, free from depression, free from loneliness. And of course, you can also send that love and compassion to yourself, allowing it to fill your own heart, your body, your mind, your whole being. And take a moment to look at how does this feel. And then bring that feeling with you when you open your eyes and slowly return your attention to the room, to the chair you're sitting on. And to our group here on the Zoom call. So I want to actually open the space. I'd love to hear from you, like how was this? What did you notice? What happened in the meditation? So when you want to speak, just either wave or unmute yourself, because some of you I can see and some of you I can't see. Marianne, I can't see, but please unmute yourself and speak. Love to hear from you. How was it to do this meditation?
That last part of the meditation, the compassion for other people who had depression, and then turning it on yourself. I found that very, very, very effective.
What?
I've never even conceived of doing anything like that.
What?
And I also wanted to say that I suffer from chronic depression. And as in the past, all those things you were saying about think about positive, think about all the good things, I always heard those. And I can appreciate them up here intellectually in my main consciousness, my sense consciousness. But it wasn't until I found Buddhism and I started taking all that thought that I had and actually moving it down deeper
Yeah.
into myself, that it made a difference. Because
Yes.
up here, it didn't seem to do anything. They were just words. It wasn't until I turned them into feelings, through meditation deep inside me, that it actually started making a difference.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Lou, because that is exactly how it works with meditation. That is when we bring those ideas like, yeah, it's good to send love to everyone or to someone else, but when we actually do it like in a more meditative space, then it sinks to the heart. Or that's how I experience it. But then it becomes more an experience rather than a nice idea. And that is what in Buddhism they call a realization. Then you have a realization of like, wow, I really care about this other person with depression or with this or that problem. Then we can actually feel it. And it can actually bring us, because I noticed it too, actually doing the meditation, to actually make a difference. So thank you for sharing. Anyone else share your experiences, because it's lovely to hear from us, from others.
Hi.
Erika.
Yeah, so I started to just think that somehow we are connected. I remember some people that are going through different things, different situations, and somewhat similar to what I'm going through. Some some people and people that I know, and it's it feels a little bit like we're connected somehow through pain, but sometimes we the same thing that we want for us, like not to feel the pain, not to feel sadness, not to feel oppressed in some way, we want for them, and the other way around is true also. So it's a good visualization to have, to want for them what you want for you, and you want to want for you what you want for them. So it's some sort of deeper connection somehow.
Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah. Right. Marian, any comments you want to make? Are you there? No, maybe not. Yeah.
Sorry, that took
Yeah.
a second. Yeah, I wasn't able to do the whole meditation. I started a little late and joined in, but yeah, it was very nice though. Like at the end, the ending part, when you're like extending compassion to people who are, going through the same thing as you, and because sometimes we get wrapped up in our own problems so much. So yeah, I really like that part. This has nothing to do with the meditation, but I was just curious. I was watching a few interesting TED Talks last week, and they're all about toxic positivity, like toxic. Yeah, like I was just curious your thoughts about that if you had a moment. I just thought it was interesting videos, because it was talking about how sometimes being positive, trying to be positive for every situation can be toxic in ways, like if you're like giving advice to someone and you're just saying, oh, look on the bright side of that, when it's sometimes can be invalidating someone's feelings. And
Sure.
it's kind of off topic, but
I think I know what you mean, because in a way there is, in Buddhism, we try not to sort of shuffle things under the carpet, not saying like, oh, I'm not sad at all. No, I'm very happy. You know, no, I have no problems at all. No, I'm not angry and I'm not depressed. So in a way, when we just say it, well, you know, there are feelings of hurt or depression, etc. With Buddhism, we try to go the middle way. So actually one part is mindfulness and being honest and realistic. You go like, yeah, I have some problems in my life, or yes, I'm feeling really down and this and that. So to actually acknowledge it and then work with it and not deny it, because like what you mentioned, that's where I start thinking, if you like deny that there are feelings of discomfort and pretend like I'm fine, everything is fine, but it's like a superficial layer, that is not very helpful. So in Buddhism, the other one would be to exaggerate the problem and, you know, go into a depression. That's also not helpful. In Buddhism, it's like the middle way to actually acknowledge. That's why we do all these meditations and mindfulness, where you actually sit and notice like, oh, this is how I feel. Like, oh, this is what my thoughts are doing. That we actually take a moment to acknowledge what's there. And then engage with, oh, I'm going in a downward spiral. You know, what can I do to get out of it? But not to deny our feelings and pretend everything is fine. So that's yeah, I don't know if that's helpful, but that's where I go with your question. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I didn't mean to not have my video on. It's just that I had dental work today and my mouth's a little numb. So I had my video off.
Oh.
Yes, it was helpful. Thank you.
Okay. Well, maybe next time you have your video on and we can see you, because you know, but that's a choice. I respect that. No problem. Yeah. So I'm noticing we're coming towards the end of our session. So these are practices, you know, we can do regularly, we can do as a daily practice, we can do from time to time, because when we get more and more familiar with them, now we tried a few out today. We can actually, you know, if there is one that you think, I like that one, then you can repeat it during the week. In the morning or in the evening or whatever works for you. So you build up that resilience, so that when, you know, when the moment comes when we really need it, you know, there is more access to that. And also it builds up an inner strength that the difficulties have slightly less effect on us. So yeah, but thank you for engaging with this. I really appreciate your involvement in this. So I'd like to close with some closing prayers. So if Lou, if you're willing to share the closing prayers. So the dedication prayer. So when we dedicate, we also in a way imagine that positive energy, just like we did in this loving kindness, compassionate. We imagine that the positive energy goes somewhere, that we just haven't wasted an hour, but we said we can appreciate the efforts we made, and any positive energy, we sent it to we dedicate it to our own self-development and eventually to our own enlightenment. That's what it means to become the state of a Guru Buddha, that we become, we have all these qualities. And also we sent it to all the other living beings, all these other people in depression, in life difficulties, that they also may go to that positive state. So let's do it once in English and once in Tibetan. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. Lama Sangye Drum Yune Drowa Chi kyang malupa de sala gepashok. I think we leave it with this for now. Thank you. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining in. And next week we are back here, same time, at the same time whatever place you are in. And I look forward to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.